with the slideshow, let's jump into the FAT clients. So when I log in, I go into the server's workspace, where I can see, in my case, 4 lines and 2 columns. Again, if I want to, I click on customize to change the layout with this, or to select the dashboard in the gallery, because there is a gallery of predefined dashboard. I can select another one if needed, or I can create my customized dashboard, and I will use it on my daily job. In my daily job. So that's it. Regarding the tags, I got 3 tags: EMEA, data center, production, and staging. And when I click on it, I just want to show you, when I add tag, there are 3 types of components that I put in the same tag. So the servers, for sure, I get 8 servers on my live demo environment. I can put multiple servers in the same tag to group them together, giving a name of that tag for sure. But there are also 2 other categories: custom counters. So that is a custom, a new counter that I created in my environment, because it is not by default collected by the remote agent. And I can also create my custom counters when I want to add some new metrics to my environment. And I can put these new custom counters in the same group than the servers through the same tag. And application security is all about who can use what in the DM clients. I mean, do I have the full scope of the 100% of the SQL servers monitored, or just the scope of them? You know, so these are the application security that I can add into the same tag too. All right, so this is the tag. So if I want to see all servers, I can see my 8 instances over there with a lot of metrics for each of them. The color is very useful, because you know immediately where there is something bad due to the red or yellow color. So these colors are based on thresholds for sure. So we didn't receive an alert. We are just looking in the client, and we can see the colors, and these colors are coming from thresholds. So let's jump into the alerting model. I just want to show you this dedicated dashboard for alerting. So there are plenty of different views on the left side. By default, it is always on the active view, but if you need it, you can choose, for example, you want to see the blocked sessions in real time, or the oldest open transactions, or the table fragmentation. So these views are predefined. You just click to look at them. And on the right side, you get by default the active alerts. But if needed, you can also look at the alerts that have been raised in the past. So clicking on the second option, and then I choose to come back into the past. You know, for example, since the 17th of June, and apply, and I will see 100% of alerts raised into that time slice, right, with other colors. I can also filter based on the tags, as I mentioned. I can filter based on the server name, based on the metric name, based on severity. If I just want to look at the critical alerts, I will apply, and we see the red one. Once filtered, well, I just click on the one alert, and then I will see the details of that particular alerts, OS processor queue length, and especially the summary and the details. And if needed, if I don't understand that alert, I can click on the alert help. And the alert help is interesting to have the online documentation what OS processor queue length means. Okay, so you will see exactly for each individual alert the explanation. And then from there, you can start your investigation, deep dive analysis, clicking on the 2 hyperlinks, show real-time view or show historical view. So depending on what you want to look at, the real-time, or maybe the past, the 2 past 2 hours in the past. So let's click on the link, and automatically you will be jumping on the true dashboard dedicated of that alerts. So to that alert, so we are now in the resources menu of the server's workspace, and in the second tab dedicated to the CPU metrics. So effectively, it's red alert because you can see that from 9:30 the 22nd of July, it started to increase a lot in terms of number of transactions. So, and if I look at the total there in terms of processor coolants, which was the actual alerts, it started again from, well, not 9:30, but 13 started to increase also. So that can be a methodology of working with the products. I mean, you receive an alert if you set an alert, an email, for example, you received an email from an alert, and from that email, you will be able to click on the hyperlink to automatically be located on the right dashboard for starting your investigation, you know. So for example, if you choose another one, another alert, which is the transaction has been active for 58 minutes, I get the command line of that transaction. If I click on it, I will be automatically located on another dashboard, which is the one for the sessions menu, you know, and we are no more on the resources, but automatically on the sessions. So as you can see, we have plenty of menus, which are very simple to understand. Sessions dedicated to well, all the sessions and the real-time activity to understand who is blocked by whom. Then the queries for SQL optimization, then resources for all about the resources consumption, like we said, CPU, memory, disk size, file activity. So we get a lot of things around this information around the resources consumption. Databases, all about the database in my SQL Server. So for example, if I choose databases on that SQL Server, then I will see the list of all my SQL servers running into that live demo environment that I can jump from one to another one. Automatically, I will see everything. So there are plenty of different menus. So if I go back to the sessions, which is a current live session, I get, like I saw in the slideshow, the logs and the blocking tabs where we can see everything related to the block when there have been some blocks, of course, and related to the session. And one particularity of that dashboard is the fact that we can kill a session from there automatically. So that can be very, very useful when someone is complaining because he's stuck. Then you will be able to kill the session automatically, and you will unlock the situation in real time. And blocking sessions is where you want to look at the block in case there have been some blocks. So for example, I want to come back into the past, for example, since, or maybe beginning of July. And if there have been some blocks, I will see there when the line is not under 0. So that's not the case for now. If you want to come back into the real time, just click on the real-time yellow bar, and automatically you will come back on the real time. Queries, queries menu, very important if you want to look at the statement execution, and especially the one that are very long. So that can be useful if you want. Let me come back into the queries. For example, when I go into the signature mode, well, looking at the graph average duration metric, I understand that the query one is very long compared to the other. So automatically the product is classifying with the longest one, and effectively the longest one, due to the red color, I can see that this is that first line, which has a very long response time, of course. But if needed, I can also change the metric of the graph to change with average CPU consumption, for example. if I want to see the longest in terms of CPU consumption, or in terms of reads, in terms of writes, or even the deadlocks, the statement, the queries that are making a deadlock, I will be able to look at them changing the metric of the graph. So by default, it is always the duration and by SQL text, but you can also look at by database. I can see that my ideal form database is the most critical one, and by application also. So then once you filtered the main category of statement in the signature mode, by default, it is always looking at the 200 first statements in terms of well, I would say the worst metrics, like we saw, you know, CPU time, duration, read writes, and so on. Then you can look at the different exec plan with clicking on the planets icon. So for example, I want to look at the exec plan of that select stop statement. I will click and see automatically the full exec plan. And I can also export it to XML format, looking at the XML formats, the full SQL text of that statement, and the query columns of that statement also. So the query text, if you look at the parameters, we can see the true values. We just are looking at the bind variables like the hash sign, you know, select top hash sign and count post ID hash sign, meaning that we are at the highest level. Again, the product classified the type of statement just to give you on the plate what are the most critical statement that you have to investigate and to analyze, to optimize. So that's why we don't see each individual execution of that particular statement type. This is a select top compared to another line, which is the backup database, select stat man, target data, and so on. Now, if you want to investigate that particular statement, you right click. Well, yes, again, you can see the query text of that statement, but you can click and select the query history, because before going into the details, deep diving around that statement and finally taking time, you want to be sure that this statement is recurrent in terms of bad duration or a lot of CPU consumption and so on. So clicking on the query history, you are jumping into the query history tab there. And then you will see effectively that over time, it's always using a lot of CPU. And especially if I come back into the past with that calendar, for example, since the 8th of July, yes, I can see my line, which is the average CPU for that particular statement over time. And effectively, I can see some peaks there. So it's at the end of the day, I know that it's not a peak in the day-to-day, and it's a recurrent peaks. So I can take time for analyzing that particular statement. And when you are in the query history, you can see that each line is an individual execution of that statement type. So, and now we can see the true values, you know, it's no more the hash sign, select top 500. And if I right click on it, show query text, I will be able to look at the true statement, the true values instead of the bind variable. So count post ID over 10 and top 500 and as numeric 6 and 2 there. So these are the true values. And there is another button there, diagnose query. So this is one of the main interesting features of the product, which is an optimization feature of that particular statement. If I click on it, automatically I will start the prescriptive analysis to get back some recommendations about that particular statement. How can I do to improve that statement execution? So this is a way to proceed with the diagnose button, and it will automatically redirect me to the analyze menu at the end of the bar. But I don't want to do that right now. I just want to show you the query weights, where I can see all the weights for each individual statement. So by default, we can see the weights tab. And then we see the overview at the bottom at the abscissa scale. But if needed, I can click also on the statement to see which kind of statement is waiting and which kind of weights it is waiting for. So we get a select top 500. This is that particular weight, that color, while the insert into is another weight, you know, the red one, and update and so on and so on. So you can see different dimensions per statement, per application, per databases, IDR form, which is my business database for my live demo. That is the most critical one again, by clients, by sessions, and by users. What I like to do in that query weights dashboard, instead of the query weights over time, is to select the other one, the query weights by duration. And that is, for me, that is better to see which kind of weight is the highest in terms of milliseconds, the total wait time. So CX packet, and then I click on it to drill down into it. And automatically I will see which statement is waiting for that wait. Select top 500. Okay, and if I click on it, I will see exactly for which application that statement is running, belonging to, you know, SQL agent. Okay, and if I click on it, I will see which database is involved, the IDR form, okay, and what clients, okay, and now which sessions, 59, and then which is the users related to that session ID. So that's another way of using the query weights, but again, you can see a lot of things around the query weights. Let's jump to database. Database is all about the database, but there is no, if you want to see especially the TempDB summary, so that can be useful to look at the TempDB. Everybody knows that the TempDB can be very, a space where there are a lot of contentions in terms of performance degradation into my my SQL Server. You get the configuration, you get the files, you get the backup with the tables and indexes if you want to see all tables and indexes also. This is based on the selection that you provided. So, well, by default, I would say the IDR form also. Well, all about the services, SQL services, SQL agent jobs. If you get some replication environment, you will see everything related to the replication environment in that dedicated dashboard. And I want to finish with, well, the logs. If you want to see all the logs on your servers, especially SQL Server and SQL Server agents logs, you will see all the messages in the logs of that service, of these Windows services. And yes, I want to finish with the analyze, which is again the prescriptive analysis. As you can see, I ran some analysis and different dates, and the last one was on the last Friday, the 12th of July, where I got back 212 or recommendations from the product. So that's huge. So if I double click on it, if I want to run a new analysis, again, I click on the run button there. I choose the categories that I want to analyze and to get some recommendations back from the product. By default, they are all selected, except the workload, index optimization, and query optimization. And if I run analysis, then it will take a lot. It will take again some minutes before giving me the result, like I can see there. And you can see the duration actually 7 minutes for that one, 6, 6, 7, 6, 6, 7, 7. So it runs 5, 6, 7 minutes. So if I double click on that one, because I can come back into the past, even another one, I can see my 212 recommendations sorted by the highest priority as the first lines of these results. So if I click on it, I will get the information about that recommendation. Integrity of database has not been checked in 50 days. What is learn more about the DBCC check DB and so on. So all of them, the first lines are integrity, but I can see this index, you know, primary key on table, DBO data files is experiencing excessive row lock contention. So this is the database and the table involved by that recommendation. I get the recommendation comment there. What about that one? Same high levels of page latch contention. What about that one? The same recommendation, same one. Row lock contention, same one. That is a new one. There is a very large table, more than 1 million rows for the post table in the IDERA forum database with a high number of modifications that have been made since the last time statistic. So when is this not a problem? Why is it a problem? Recommendation and hyperlinks to get into the details and help. So again, when you don't know what to do more, just run that prescriptive analysis and you will see exactly what I can show you now. A lot of recommendation, not all of them are interesting for sure, depending on your environment, the context of your production, but that can be useful to look at this one, overlap, for example. All right. So time is passing. We have to jump onto the other product. Just the last things, the reporting model. There are plenty of predefined reports categorized into three main categories: monitoring, analyzing, and planning. Monitoring, 3 sections: servers, virtualization, activity. I just want to look at the server summary. Okay, I click on it. I just have to select the server I want to run that report on, that one. All right, and just run a report, and that's it. And I will see the result of that report generation on the same screen. So the server property, status, file use, response times, SQL, disk, bus, OS, memory usage. I just have to save it. Well, with that icon, I can export it into the Excel, PDF, or Word format. And if I want to generate that report automatically and send to the right person, just with a rocket icon, I click on it to deploy onto the reporting services, from Microsoft. And that's it. I will choose the report that I want to deploy on that reporting services. And then the other schedule icon is just to schedule the email. I want to receive that email every day at 6 p.m. at the end of the day to have the nice view of my SQL Server and so on. So again, there is 3 categories. Analyze, you want to see the top databases. Analyzing top database, you just select and you run a report. Very easy to do. All right, so let's jump to the other product, the Compliance Manager product. So let's go back to the